I never had you. I never had you pegged as a.
I'm glad you've never had me pegged.
Oh dear! Now we definitely can't put that in the bloopers.
Welcome back to the WireHeadz podcast, hosted by
Trezale.
and your guy, SPG. You know, we discuss the bars, the beats, and the culture that make up hip hop music. And it's always from the perspective of these two island boys with opinions. So let's get to it.
Okay, guys. So today, what we're going to be discussing is 50 years in hip hop. Who can believe that it's been 50 years for this genre that we love so much?
With the birthday gone, so it's belated.
It's belated. It's actually belated.
But the whole year should be celebrated.
It's true.
We
It's
should
true.
be celebrating the whole year.
There you go.
All right.
We're going to be talking about the origins of hip hop. We're going to be talking about who has played an important role in actually creating the genre and pushing the genre forward. And then more importantly, we want to touch on the impact that the Caribbean has on hip hop.
The connection, yeah.
Or the greater connection. I mean, some would say without Caribbean culture and influence, there would be no hip hop. There would be no hip hop.
Wow.
I know, right? Jaw drop.
What's this actual day? Why is it that people have been talking about the 50th anniversary of hip hop at this particular time? It's because,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So it's because it is considered that hip hop was born. It is considered widely accepted.
Correct. There you go.
Right. And we would have to see if any historians have anything different to say about it.
Please put it in comments below, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That August 11th, 1973 was the day, or maybe the night, because it was a party,
Yeah.
that hip hop was first birthed. When the first hip hop event really occurred. And so that's why during this last few weeks, it has been celebrated worldwide. So what happened on, I mean, who knows what happened
Yeah, I
on
know, right?
August 11th, 1973?
As I've been told via my research, because I wasn't there, DJ Kool Herc at a block party, I guess a house party. It wasn't a block party, a house party. He actually took, while DJing, he actually had two different records and he created like what we would call syncopated beats and repeatedly to create what we would now know as our hip hop beat. And then people, I'm not even sure if it was DJ Kool Herc or somebody else, people began to like chant, rap, rhyme on top of those beats. And as I understand it, it was something that only occurred very much in that space. It was not on the radio.
No.
It was a fledgling art form. And I think you were telling me even before we got started that some people called it a fad.
Well, so to give some background, who was DJ Kool Herc? He was a Jamaican immigrant. He was born in Jamaica.
Yeah.
But he came to the US like when he was about 12 years old or so. And, did like studied at at a technical college. And so he was a DJ and he used to do this thing where, and this is one of the things that became a part of the early hip hop culture, the sound system culture.
And still to this day, though.
Still to this day,
yeah.
You know the sound system culture that we got in the Caribbean, where you
For sure.
where you just pull up and you offload all these speakers and you have like you just put the
Correct.
speakers down and you turn any area that can
Into a
hold
dance.
speakers into a place for people to
A
party
big fat, yeah.
and for people to commune inside that space in terms of the music and the vibes and the rhythms and so on. And so he because of that influence and what he would have seen growing up, he would have brought that to the US in the Bronx where he was living.
No, I wanna put a pin in that because I generally think that a lot of people do not understand that. When I mean, coming up as a person who loves hip hop and stuff like that, before I found this out, I just thought that there was absolutely no connection between this genre, which was created in New York, so in America. I thought there was no connection to my Caribbean roots and my Caribbean heritage, and it's interesting that I don't think it gets highlighted enough.
Well, you know, there is a perceived pushback. I'm not sure if it is how much evidence we have for it, but there's a perceived pushback that, you know, hip hop really isn't a Caribbean thing. I mean, our thing.
Ooh. It's the whole reason for this podcast.
It really is.
It
isn't
really is, actually.
It really
You
is.
guys don't know that. Maybe you do, but yeah, that's the reason we have this pod.
But it's not a Caribbean thing. It's not a Bajan thing. You know, Jamaica got dancehall, dub, you know, reggae. You know, various Caribbean islands have different versions of calypso, soca. You know, we have spooge. You know, like there are all these musical forms. But you know, as I always telling Tremaine, my experience with hip hop growing up, given that we've got like maybe a 10-year difference.
Yep, we do.
In age, and so you know, and so
you talk about your age every pod. You know that, right? Hey. I'm gonna splice, guys. I gotta splice together, right?
Every single time.
Edit. No. You know, I've been around for a while, but in my day. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, listen to me. I can't wait till you bring out the WireHeadz podcast SPG age takes.
The age takes.
Because I will respond with the WireHeadz podcast Trezale Drake Downs. Drake Downs.
Oh God, Drake Hill Downs. I love it.
Let's go.
Let's do it. But no, seriously. Seriously.
So like, the experience was that no one liked hip hop. Like, it was this thing that was just niche. I've mentioned this before. It was very niche.
Yeah.
And so you kind of came up with this perspective that people were like, oh yeah, that's that thing that some of them fellas are into.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, but it's really about old dub. It's about calypso. It's about soca. And fine.
Yeah.
So that understanding that pin.
Yeah.
We were just saying that, you know, this guy with this heritage brought this situation into it. So that's who Kool Herc was. And he got his name because he was a big guy and people used to call him Hercules. Right. Yeah. And on that particular night, on the 11th of August,
right,
he was DJing a birthday party for his sister, I think. And as Trey said, he did these break beats over the turntables, and that's where the first thing started. But you did make an interesting point. Like, that was happening in local context, inside, in the Bronx, in house parties, or maybe street parties or whatever. But when was the first hip hop record made? It's widely considered that the first hip hop record may be Rapper's Delight by the Sugar Hill Gang. And that came out in 1980.
Which I think the best part about Rapper's Delight as the first rap record is that they were rapping about it being, they were like actually explaining what was happening. You know, this is not a test. I am rapping to the beat. That is amazing, right? But yeah, Sugar Hill Gang, like, I mean, I don't know. It's hip hop. Like, when we think about hip hop, and I know people say that, because you've told me this, that hip hop is not just the music. It's the music. It's breakdancing. It's graffiti. Is it four? It's 4 elements, no?
Yeah.
Hit me with the 4 elements there, old timer. What the elements are?
Listen here, young Padawan. Yeah.
Remember what they are?
Yeah, of course. Okay. It's rapping,
right?
MCing,
gotcha.
DJing, breakdancing, and graffiti.
Right.
So it is the craft of being an MC, the master of ceremonies, which is what rappers are supposed to be, because the original thing was that a rapper was a person who controlled the party.
Which is what was, I don't want to say taken, but which was what was borrowed or informed by what happened in the Caribbean.
Yes.
Right. When we talk about toasting and you got people chanting.
And it still happens to this day because it's kind of what's connected to the hype man that's be with the DJ.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Right. And so the MC, and that's what you hear rap, the older rappers or the old heads talking about, you ain't no MC.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? You spit rhymes in a studio. You ain't no MC.
Yeah.
You can't handle a crowd. My young youth. So you were making a point of the 4 elements.
Yes. No, because I guess my question is, I want to understand where the graffiti, where the other elements, if you have any idea where the other elements came from or originated from.
Well, I mean, we know about the MCing and the DJing because that was Cool Herc's whole thing in of itself, in that you had these DJs that would go to these parties. So like Will Smith and Jazzy Jeff were a similar situation. They were actually a duo that embodied that.
Yeah, for sure.
Jazzy Jeff was doing the DJing, and
Will Smith was the MC.
Right, and the whole thing about break beats, about splicing the stuff between the two turntables is where the break dancing comes from. Right, and that's why the break dancers were called either break boys or break girls.
Right.
So
B boys and B girls. Yeah.
So I think that the dancing came out of putting movement to the type of music that came out of those parties.
No, I don't. I don't have any fact to back this up, but I mean, we must admit that dancing has always been at the core of music in Jamaica. We were talking about Kool Herc coming from Jamaica, and dancing has always been, to this day, like most dancehall songs have dances to them. Even if the artists themselves don't put them out, they have a whole set of like ravers and all these people that do this stuff. And I think it's so amazing. But again, I gotta say, I feel like the connection is downplayed.
And you make an interesting point there, because dance is so integral and intertwined in the Black diasporic experience. When you think about Black music,
yes,
in the Caribbean, in Afro-America,
Afro-America.
Wow, did I just say that?
Easy.
Yeah, okay.
Easy does it.
Yeah, I had an interesting conversation coming here today. In Africa.
Right, in Africa.
Expression, or it's almost as if the dance is a translation of the music.
Yes, it is.
In terms of the movement of the body. And so when you think about music that has come from the African experience, no matter where it is always connected to dance. There are always artists and practitioners who are going to express that music through the movement of the body. Hip hop, soca, calypso, Afro beats. It's always like that.
Piano, anything.
I'm not really sure of rock music having particular dance.
Headbanging.
Okay.
I mean, but no, you're still moving to the beat. It's still an expression, form of expression. So. All right. So obviously we talk about DJ Kool Herc. We spoke about Rapper's Delight. But I think what's even more interesting is the content and what hip hop music from its birth actually stood for in terms of what was being said. And obviously to this day, I don't know, maybe it's a bit divided because where we're at now in hip hop in the landscape of 2023 might be something different, but definitely in the early days, it was about fighting out against or speaking out against what was happening in neighborhoods. How maybe people were struggling, impoverished, how the government didn't care about them. It's very much this rebel music, this anti-establishment kind of movement that was going on. And I mean, that's my favorite hip hop.
Really?
That's
the
where
man
I'm
that
at.
is always giving me talk about gangster music. Oh, but you see, that's the difference. That's a difference.
That's different, isn't it?
Okay, so yeah, but to speak on that, Grandmaster Flash had this song called "The Message," and it was important at the time. I think it dropped like 1982. Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5.
Yep.
And it was important at the time because it was speaking about situations going on in inner city life. But it's interesting because music has always been used by humans to describe their circumstances. And the unfortunate circumstance of the person of African descent, especially in the Western Hemisphere, is life both during enslavement and
Post enslavement, yeah.
and the persistent fight for equality and equity in a westernized space.
It was definitely empowerment music.
Yeah. So I mean, at first you will need, hip hop would have started like in those same parties with just having fun.
Yeah.
And you were just
correct.
like having a great time when you're dancing to
Because
music.
you can see the shift, because rappers, they're like, it's just a fun song,
Correct.
But Grandmaster Flash, the
Was
message,
like,
that's a serious freaking song.
Yeah. So, and this is why we've had podcasts in the past where we looked at whether or not there is any responsibility. Remember, we've had an actual discussion about this, about the if there is a responsibility on rappers to talk about major social events or political events that have an impact on the lives of the people that are rapping.
But that's probably something that we look for just because we are aware of the origins. Because we are aware that there were hip hop artists, MCs who utilized their voice to speak on certain social, political topics. But there is obviously there is a large subset of listeners who are not aware of that and who may not really care. They're too far removed from that. They're too far removed from the time when, black people can vote, or, they might not be history buffs. They might not feel particularly close to a particular cause.
One good reason that not one good reason, it is a fact.
Okay. Mm-hmm. No, okay.
And I mean,
this is an absolute.
It's an absolute within the universe.
That's right.
Yeah. That if you're looking at the Afro-American experience, they grapple with systemic racism and white supremacy all the time.
Okay.
That's what they're dealing with.
Right.
And those things exist in the Caribbean, but not felt as strongly because maybe, I could be completely wrong here, and I would invite any historian or anthropologist to correct me. Mm-hmm. But those things may not have the same kind of significance within the Caribbean environment because we tend to be a majority. And so much of our interactions are with our own people. Right. And so our concerns are rooted in our own, in our own people. But it is important for persons to be aware of, and I want to use the word woke. We need to be aware of, right? The way in which these things still have an impact on who we are as a people. Okay. Because we are the descendants of enslaved peoples. And so when you say that those persons may be removed from it, I wonder to myself, but how are they removed from it when the stuff still exists? You mean they've decided to ignore, or they are ignorant to its current form? Right.
Yeah, to the systemic nature that still exists. For them. Yeah. Cool. All right. So what's your take on the actual influence on the music itself? I mean, we discussed that Kool Herc did the break beats and stuff like that, but the influence goes way beyond that. Actually, they've actually like sampled reggae music and dancehall music into the early.
Oh, so you're talking about Caribbean influence?
Yes, the Caribbean influence on hip hop.
Oh, it was there. As you said earlier, like one could consider that without Caribbean influence would it have even started. I mean, that's where the man came from, and he brought those elements from the Caribbean to start hip hop. But the influence has continued right through, in terms of, as you said, sampling reggae.
DJ Khaled.
Oh my gosh.
I know you hate Khaled, but
I don't hate Khaled.
You hate Khaled.
I mean,
you hate his formulaic approach to making music,
every time,
which is odd because you like structure. You like formulae.
Yeah, when I'm, like finding the roots of a quadratic equation, sure.
Mm-hmm. Music, DSPs, platforms, streaming services. What?
I would like you to come with a different formula. You can't repeat the same formula all the time.
He's just like a one trick pony
or step horse. I don't know.
Oh wow, terrible. But don't you ever realize that like it feels like when hip hop artists want to like be like edgy, they tap into dancehall music. You never realize that? Like, think about it. Like, Nas did it, Jay-Z did it, Khaled does it. It feels like, I mean,
Did they suspend your disbelief when they did that? I mean, don't get me wrong; those songs have had their impact. Like, take for instance, when Nas did the Distant Relatives album
With Damian Marley.
Yeah, and I mean, yes,
I loved all that stuff though.
Yeah, I know you love the album. I didn't like it at all.
Not enough talk of guns and
What was it?
air it out, you know. And
Boo, 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 boo. Anyway,
it's who you are. Just embrace it.
just embrace it, man. I can't get away from my history, man. It's where it came from. Which is garbage because I was inside my house writing at chemistry lab. That's what I was doing. You know?
Oh God.
Anyway,
Wicked.
well, good. Right. So,
I just feel like, you know, that's something that they all do. Like, so for me, I don't know, I feel like at the end of the day, it all comes full circle. I feel like hip hop artists understand how powerful reggae and dancehall music is. And yeah, I mean, but I guess my thing is that, like I said at the beginning of this pod, I don't feel like it gets enough. It doesn't get enough. It doesn't get talked about enough.
what is it? You mean the connection?
The connection. And the fact that without this, there could be no this.
Fair
Like,
enough.
put some respect on Caribbean music's name.
Fair enough. Yeah. And as we said earlier, that's why we really started this pod. We've been having this kind of interesting internal journey where that's concerned.
Yeah.
But a lot of it has been our interest in how our local content, it was our local context for hip hop.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And the amazing artists that we have here that need exposure, and we would love them to have.
And I'm sure throughout the diaspora, I feel like there are artists out there that we don't know. Well, some of them we know. But
You know what would be great?
will be great. Tell me.
If I'm not sure if we're going to keep this in the recording, but what would be great is if the WireHeadz podcast could travel. Let me take a trip to Trinidad and spend
So what, we can phone at the BTMI? We can call people that we know.
people. I tell them, yeah, though. We
Yeah.
want a little 20 spot here so to gut the road.
You know.
And meet some hip hop artists and
Correct.
and bring them together.
Yeah.
However,
It's
we do it.
historically and culturally important that we go on this trip.
Go on this trip and
Yeah,
do
I
this
agree.
thing.
I agree.
Yeah.
Don't see why not.
Yeah. Bet.
Boom. Let's be real. Hip hop can't be the biggest genre with just only black people supporting it, right?
Oh, is that where you were going with this?
So
we're talking about the genre becoming mainstream.
No, not just mainstream. I'm talking about the largest genre in the world. Because yes, there's mainstream. So sure, it went from being fledgling, a little underground, boom, blah, 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 blah. People eventually like it, da. Then it went mainstream. And then something happened. I don't know if it is in the Biggie era, the Tupac era. I don't have the facts. You guys have the facts. Let me know in comments below. But something happened where it broke through.
And you're asking me what I think the breakthrough was?
What do you think was your reason for the breakthrough? Because when you watch a Lil Yachty concert and you look out into the crowd, if you could pick out 10 black people, you pick out enough.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if we're talking only in North America, or in the USA,
I'm not though.
fair enough.
Yeah.
But black people only make up 13% of the US.
Right.
So
To be mainstream means that it has to be as accepted and loved, adopted by.
people outside of African descent
So why is it about hip hop music?
that has done that.
What do you think? I mean, obviously we don't. It's not absolutes. We don't know. We don't have the data.
We don't know, and we haven't carried out the actual studies. We haven't spoken to persons and asked them what is it, or talked to persons who were in the music at particular
Points in time to see the inflection points where it this is why it did that.
and then this is why it did that. But we can speak from what we've seen. I will tell you that there have always been interest artists that had mainstream appeal beyond.
You think so? That
Over-
always had a mainstream appeal?
No. There've always been artists. Sorry, there've been artists all along that had mainstream appeal. So the genre has a lot of artists that would be considered to be underground, as we call it, right?
Okay.
Or are more rooted in a more obscure, no, not more obscure, but a more purified version of what hip hop was.
I like the word obscure though. Obscure is a nice word because when I think about MF Doom, I think obscure.
Okay. But there were persons as we came along that had a particular sound to the music that was palatable to the masses.
You think so?
Yeah.
No way.
So
no way.
you can tell me about that.
There
You're
had
not
to
going to
be.
tell me
I
that.
love when we disagree. There had to be a point in time when, like,
No. Finish your point.
no, it's all right.
No.
No, it's okay.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Finish your point.
No, you tell me because I may be making a counterpoint before your point. Your point is blah, blah, before your point is finished. So you go on.
Fair enough. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right, very well. No, what I was gonna say is that when I think about the genre, I cite persons like
Right.
DJ Judge Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Okay.
I cite persons like Busta Rhymes.
Okay.
I cite persons like maybe LL Cool J. I mean, I don't know if hip hop claims MC Hammer. So my point is that there were
No, you have to claim MC Hammer though,
Yeah, we have
because MC Hammer. I thought you would have started with a person like MC Hammer. I thought you would have been like Milli Vanilli. I thought those would be people because you thinking about hip hop purists, but I'm thinking about people, artists that make it easy for people to get in.
But that's
to
what
the
I'm talking
genre.
about. That's what I'm talking about. And like I felt like that's what DJ Jeff and the Fresh Prince did. Because the Fresh Prince wasn't singing songs about inner city issues.
You're saying about summertime.
Summertime. And before he was singing about summertime, he was saying that girls are nothing but trouble.
Oh dear, problematic. Anyhow.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyhow.
some things don't age well.
Oh dear.
Parents just don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
So his songs were Nightmare on My Street, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that a lot of
But by that time, you see, I don't know the timeline. I feel bad. We should got like a timeline because Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff predated NWA.
Fresh Prince and Judge Jeff were kind of like in the mid to late 80s.
So they
They were doing-
predated NWA then.
Predated? I think that was around the same time.
Interesting.
So what I'm saying is that there was some very hardcore hip hop going on and different subgenres being formed, but DJ Judge Jeff and the Fresh Prince were singing fun stuff. So they were.
And you think the masses wanted the fun? Because I got a completely different take.
No, not that the masses wanted the fun, but certainly the average white person in the US could get into a song about parents not understanding the plight of some, teenager who was, as opposed to a song about inner city poverty and strife.
But okay, because I don't disagree, but I think it I personally think the reason why
You personally?
me personally me
Oh, you.
me personally me think that it is more the rebel I think that hardcore gangster rap began to replace or began to move into the space of heavy metal, like death rock music.
That is fair.
I feel like there are a lot of angry kids
That is fair.
out there, and that music gave them an angry outlet in which to submerge themselves.
But my question would be, how many white kids.
don't
You don't
know.
know.
I don't know.
But how many white kids were listening to NWA? And I'm not saying that they weren't. Of course they were. But okay, the major inflection point to me is Eminem. Eminem succeeded by bringing two interesting things together.
I don't disagree with that.
Right?
I don't disagree with that.
He succeeded by bringing two amazing,
Yes.
interesting things together.
Yes,
he
yes,
was
yes.
an amazing lyricist. Well, he still is. I mean, that doesn't mean that you have to like what he raps or how he raps. But if you listen to the lyrics themselves in terms of wordplay only, if you're gonna
Yeah, fair.
boil it
Fair,
down
fair,
to
fair.
wordplay and that type of thing,
Right, that's what you said, lyricist, and not like
Now,
amazing,
I'm not talking about
amazing
concepts.
song maker,
No,
blah, blah, blah,
I have not felt
creator of classics. That type of thing.
No,
Okay.
I haven't felt that
Fair.
Eminem has made a good song in a long time.
All right. Okay. Well, when the Eminem stands come, he said that not to do with that.
They're not
I'm over
Eminem
here.
stands, they're stands.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
He
Wow.
created that concept.
Crazy.
There are stands. There are NWA stands.
That's
There
right.
are common stands. But then there are stands. And them is them that just deal with Eminem. Anyway,
Right.
I'm just saying that he brought two interesting things together. Extreme skill, intense skill as an MC. As a rapper.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. I agree with that.
And white privilege access. I feel like white people saw themselves in him.
Even though that wasn't his intention, you know, because
No, I don't think he
he's
was-
so much about the culture.
Yeah, I mean, he grew up
To
in
this
it.
day, yeah.
He grew up in Detroit. He's a part of that.
Yeah.
He was a part of a crew of black rappers that
Yeah.
used to move together, but he's just really, really good.
Yeah.
And so you take this guy who's good, he's innovative, he's rapping about things that other people aren't rapping about. Hi kids, do you like violence? 9 Inch Nails, True
Yeah.
Eyelids.
Yeah.
So he's talking about things that other persons aren't necessarily talking about. Although I'm sure that there are persons who would reason that there may have been other rappers doing it, because there are other rappers that sang about some crazy stuff on the underground scene.
But not as not. But you see, I can't say maybe this is a function of his whiteness.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
But to be fair, when M came on the scene, it was like nothing you'd ever heard before. It was so new and fresh. I remember listening to him, a mad rapper, on a track. I remember where I was when I heard that track for the same time. I say, yo, this is nuts.
Yeah,
This is crazy. His approach to storytelling, because it's all about the storytelling, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
His approach to storytelling and use of words and lyrics. Oh man, you can't take that away from him.
nah,
You can't.
certainly not. And so what I think is that may have opened the door for persons to start exploring other hip hop artists.
Yeah, that was the gateway.
Because they got into the music itself through him. And when you get into the music, I mean, yeah, M dropped an album, but then until he drops his next album, who are
Right.
you listening to?
And then anyone that he co-signed. So let's say M. So that mean that you playing what's it called? D12. You listening to Barry D12. If you listen to D12, you're definitely listening to Slaughterhouse. If you listen to Slaughterhouse, then you're going down the crooked.
Don't
Eye,
forget
Joel.
that Dr. Dre co-signed Eminem.
Correct.
So then you
So
might
that's
get into
like
Death
major
Row.
right,
Then
that's
there was
major
50 Cent.
cred.
50 Cent was connected to the man.
Yeah,
Like so.
huge.
So you then spread off into these other things, and that is
yeah.
how you have a situation where, because the reality is that the actual music is amazing. I mean, I guess I'm very biased here, but I'm gonna continue with the bias. The music is amazing. So then other people are like, but this is music that I like. I like this music.
Right.
It speaks to me in these various ways. And you know, there's a way in which MCing, the actual craft of spitting rhyme over beat, allows you to pack a lot into a song.
Yes. Okay.
Because singing usually is slower. And so songs can talk about amazing concepts, but
you're limited
you're limited by
to what you can say.
in a particular bar space. But
Fair enough.
But rappers can say so much in a short space of time that you get this interesting genre where you can really like have all these things happening lyrically, amazing beat, there's the dance music connected with it. So there's so much that could come together to really inspire and release the endorphins of the listeners. And so I feel like Eminem was a big deal for hip hop that it exploded after that. I mean, we would need to look at the data in terms of record sales and before and after his time.
But the same way that I feel right. So my point to you is that I feel it's because of the violence, the hyper violence of gangster music, right?
And how that replaced death metal and heavy metal.
Yeah. I feel like it. I mean, I'm sure there are people who listen to death metal and heavy metal, but I feel it's a lot more skewed to rager music, which would be like Lil Uzi Vert or XXXTentacion, rest in peace, or other guy. Oh gosh, the other guy is Be Uzi. Oh god, the guy with the hair. Anyway, but those type of guys that are just all about rager music, I feel like that's where those people live now. And I think obviously those guys are considered hip hop as well, so they contribute to the larger pie of this is hip hop music, because no, hip hop is not just hip hop. Hip hop is trap. It is.
All the genres
it's
that we've
jazz.
that have
It
developed
is,
over the time.
right? Because I think at the core of it, hip hop, at the beginning, the roots, hip hop is as a result of another genre. So it already has this scope and this gamut for collaboration,
Okay.
for taking pieces and creating new spins and stuff like that. And I think that's why it's the largest genre. That's my perspective. And it's great that the largest genre in the world, largest, calling it.
Oh,
Bet.
you
Fight
mean
me if you see me.
when you said largest, you mean
I know, right? Just like caping for no reason.
I make me like yo.
No one. Fight you when I see
fight you when I see you. Like yo, man, is that guy from the podcast? What's up?
Yeah, B. Yeah, no, for sure. And to think that all started with Caribbean music, that makes me exceedingly proud. After all of that waffle and
Discussion.
just to say that it makes me exceedingly proud.
Fair enough.
And I wish localized hip hop, so hip hop from Jamaica, Barbados, Trinidad, Antigua, St. Vincent, Guadeloupe. They have a lot of awesome artists in the French islands.
Yeah.
I wish those people would get more shine. Why don't we love these people like blazing this drill, man, and stop saying that it's just American genre. Frig that, dude. Nah.
It's just our music. It's just another version of our music. Yeah.
I know we've been discussing this all pod, but yeah, we got some receipts. So we want to go through some of the artists that, were pioneers and around for the birth and the cultivation of this genre that we love. We want to show you direct connection. So you got KRS-One, Jamaican descent. Notorious B.I.G., Jamaican mother. He's got some patois. Has some like patois. I know he's a big Biggie fan. So.
Yeah, and his lyrics and stuff. Mommy.
Biggie. If you had to bring Biggie back and trade another current artist, who you would trade Biggie with?
What kind of question is that?
I know, right?
Like
obviously, Tekashi 6ix9ine. Anyhow, Busta Rhymes, Jamaican, not their heritage. Nas is not. He doesn't have Caribbean heritage per se, but he always seems to be some person that is very.
Well, a lot of the things that a lot of these rappers say is that they spent a lot of their time in those neighborhoods with persons of Caribbean descent.
Yeah. But I mean, if you really even think about it, I mean, I haven't spent any prolonged period of time in New York, but people also tell me that Canada, there's districts in Canada that are like that is like literally a melting pot of the Caribbean.
Yeah. And
if you think about it in that way, how not can hip hop be infused with Caribbean culture?
Right.
N-R-E, Noriega, he always talking about how is Puerto Rican.
Yeah. Puerto Rican heritage.
He got Puerto Rican heritage.
Busta Rhymes, he's supposed to be Jamaican and Trinidadian.
Yeah, Busta's Jamaican, Trinidadian. Super Cat, that's a big one. I think Super Cat actually did a song with Notorious B.I.G. He did this song with somebody. And then, of course, my favorite, I know a lot of people might not like Clef, but I'm a huge Wyclef fan.
He was really good.
I like Wyclef, but
Why do people dislike Clef?
I mean, I just think because Clef is like outspoken, like he doesn't care. He says it how he how he sees it, and I like that. And we can't ever forget. Like, I feel like Fuji's music spoke to me because it felt so familiar, and I think it felt familiar because Wyclef never shied away from his Haitian roots, and he believed in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? So, like, when you think about it, you talk about Fugees and you talk about Lauryn Hill and you talk about all these people that got connections. That's like Jerry Wonder. I remember when, I don't mean her name drop, but Jerry Wonder, I met him. Jerry Wonder came down here for a little bit and he was telling us about Wyclef and, and how much he loves the Caribbean and stuff like that. And I'd be like, these are like good links. Like, why don't we have more links? Maybe they got links that I don't know about, man, but
That could be it.
yeah, maybe.
Looking at this whole idea of social commentary through hip hop and stuff, as I think that we would. Did I just knock us off air? No, I did not. As I was, as I was saying before, like people express their culture and their lives through music.
Yes, that is true.
So to constantly sing about having fun is only one very narrow aspect of what a people can be and what a people are. And if the people's experience is one of a post-colonial one, whether it is in the Caribbean or in America,
Right,
or
okay.
in Europe, then that's going to come out in the music eventually.
It has to.
It has to.
Yeah, because that's their life.
That's their life.
That's their experience.
And so hip hop was no different, and it became an avenue for people to speak about this in a way that may have been more accessible to persons than news reports, or like
Oh, I like that. I like what you're going with this.
Right.
You're right.
so and so
Like, hear me. This is what's happening in my hood.
yes,
This is how we are being disenfranchised in whatever way.
Yes.
This is interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
and a way to it's about bringing awareness and increasing the space within which people think about particular things, so they can change the way that they see the world and understand that the world just isn't as they thought it isn't. So
Bars.
so and I wanna suggest that, like, it's interesting how these things intertwine, because we had a pod when we did it with our boy
Who Sivs?
at the salon.
Oh, Ramon.
Yeah, when we had our pod with Ramon, when we were asking about whether or not hip hop should be cancelled because of violent stories and other
And he said no.
well, yeah, he certainly said no.
Yeah, he
and
said no.
we said no too.
Yeah.
I mean, other than the selfish reason of wanting to listen to more hip hop, yes, there are certainly artists who rap about some garbage, and they say things that don't align with my politics, your politics,
Yeah.
and the way that we've come to see the world over time, and the way in which I am still journeying, and I assume that you still are.
Of course.
One of the things about being more aware of other things is being open and constantly self-examining whether or not you're actually doing any work.
Which actually, not to cross you, but to cross you, that is actually the hardest part about being a hip hop listener in 2023.
Yeah, it's
That
not.
is the most difficult thing.
That's the most difficult thing, because I just, like, even sometimes I go back to songs that I thought were so amazing, and I'm
And then
listening
you
to
listen to it,
and then
you're
there's
like,
some lyric
oh,
hits,
this
and I'm
is
like,
so problematic.
whoa, I was dancing to this.
You know who I don't do that with though? Lupe Fiasco.
Well,
Never a challenge. Never a challenge.
Lupe Fiasco. Say it with me. Say 1, 2, 3. Never a challenge.
Never a challenge.
Because, but it's true. It's true. It's true. The nerd from Chicago, and don't get it tied, the nerd from Chicago stepped all up in somebody's chest recently. showing them that, nah, don't come at me. Don't at me.
Wow.
Yeah, I might be
When
out
the
here.
nerds fight back, boy.
When the
Let me
nerds-
tell you, boy.
Revenge of the nerds.
Revenge of the nerds.
Listen to me. When the man drop what? Because I just drop a song in Channel 3 about hooking up my Nintendo to the television, you feel that I won't destroy you in these streets. Anyway, give that man his credit. Anyway, no, what I'm saying, I don't even know what I was saying anymore. Thanks.
I'm sorry.
for
I'm
distracting
sorry.
me.
I
You know how my
always do.
brain works.
I know how to
Seriously?
distract you.
Like, look, fly. Anyway, I have no idea what we're talking about.
I know. It's sad. Let's just wrap it up.
You
now.
you don't know what we're talking about
I
either.
don't know either.
Because you just quite.
Oh, two flies.
Oh my gosh.
Oh shit.
You said I really feel bad that I'm not continuing that point, but we were talking about the point I was gonna make, and we got to keep some of that. But anyhow, the point I was gonna make is that yes, there are people singing about some ridiculous things that I can't listen to anymore.
Yeah.
But when there is a song about, like, there's gangster rap, and people are talking about, if you come here, I'll put a bullet in your head and things of that nature. Do persons understand that while some may interpret it as a glorification of violent behavior, that it is simultaneously can be considered to be a lament about realities that the men are living?
Oh, so this is what I wanted to end on.
She's on the segue.
I wanted to end on the fact that through 50 years of hip hop, we've had many high points. We've seen the genre come from underground to mainstream to largest genre. But I actually think that there's been some losses along the way, because I feel like where we're at right now, there is more of a focus on, and this could be the DSP's fault and just general capitalism at play. But I feel like I feel like, and again, it's not old, like, it's not like an old head now. I feel like the core of what hip hop stood for, which is having something to say, empowerment, even teaching. Even just teaching.
Don't forget that that's what Karason calls himself. The teacher.
The teacher, right? Even just teaching has now given way to...
Oh, so you just skip, what were you doing? You just skipping. You skip through, the man skip through Golden Era, gangster rap, the man skip through drill, trap.
I know. We can revisit though.
Yeah, we can revisit.
We can revisit in more detail.
Continue.
I feel like where we're at now is that music is made based on metrics, yes, but based on what's most salacious, what would get me the most clicks, what would do this, what would do that. Because gangster rap back in the day was gangster rap, yes, but it was gangster rap as told through the lens of a person that this is their reality. It just so happens
it was
that
commentary.
Right. It just so happens that commentary happened to be terribly gruesome. But now, when we got people like Tekashi 6ix9ine, and we got all these kind of people that just are, basically, it feels like parody music. It feels like people just...
Or the men are grifters.
Grifters. People just taking these different themes and just... And mind you, they might be marketing it to people who don't have that experience either. So then it just devolves into some weird, bad Lifetime, bad entertainment segment on a 4 p.m.
So what you're actually saying is that hip hop had a collision with humanity? Because that's the breaks.
Wow. There you have it, guys.
And that is the breaks.
These are the breaks.
Yeah, that's what you just described.
Yeah.
Like humans will human. Humans will human.
Humans will humanity.
Humans will human. And one of those aspects of humanity is greed. And if it's about money
Disgusting.
and what persons perceive is going to be the most clicks, I mean, I would like to.
And then they pander to that. That is what I'm saying. Like these people, and everything is just a quick bag. Like I wonder, and don't get me wrong, there are artists out there who care about the art. They care about the music. They care about the music and the message, right? Because care about the music, care about the message, care about the music and the message. There are people who care. But then there are other people who just see music, and that is a function of hip hop's growth. Because if hip hop wasn't as big and as trendy and could transform an artist's life like overnight, people wouldn't be doing it. They wouldn't be doing it.
No.
Because back in the day when it was fledgling and nobody would do it, the people who was doing it was be the people that actually love it.
Yeah.
And I
Loved
just
it.
think that that's...
If you did it when it wasn't making the
There's
money,
nothing in
you
it.
loved it.
There's nothing in it for you, bro.
You loved it.
You do that and then
You were
gonna,
just doing this
go
because
back
this
to work.
was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Just like how we do this pod.
Well, I mean,
we don't get nothing, but we do it. We invest in ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, I might have just laughed, but there are no lies told here.
Yeah, B.
Or as they say, where is the lie? I can leave you. So a great way to end the pod. Thanks very much, Trezale. I mean, yeah, I when we talk about particular things and particular trends and about whether or not they speak of a truth versus a caricature of a cultural aspect or artifact or a person or people. Sexy Red.
You don't like Sexy Red?
I am your host, SPG.
And I'm Trezale.
And this has been
The WireHeadz Podcast. We out.